Sorry? So business performance is actually seen, that's what. Yeah. 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 So what we are saying is that by way, financial reporting is one way where the finance people create value in an organization. Do we have all charted? Yeah, yeah. Of course, that's one of the things. It can't be an absolute. Do we have all chartered accountants or accountants here? Can you share your thoughts? Well, you're very right, but still I would like to hear from somebody else. Why not? Or maybe you guys had a very heavy lunch and you're dozing off. My question is how, I'm making a statement, I may be wrong, yeah? But that's my experience of Unilever. That one of the elements, one of the ways that finance people can contribute in value creation in an organization is by way of financial reporting.
Yep. In fact, if you look at the finance professionals, they, if they report the right things, which focus the attention of the organization towards right opportunities, through that manner, they can really pick up the minds, or they can direct, and as we call in Shell, we say that we can influence the leaders toward those opportunities. Right. Also by making the right reporting, let's say, by reporting the debtors in a manner it should be reported, and there are so many ways of reporting that. You can identify the risk that your debtors might be increasing. So it might be the case that debtors might still be stagnant, but the DSO, the days sale outstanding, might be increasing. But finance people are not able to report the right levers or the right KPIs, and hence the organization will never take the right decisions, and the value creation will never take place. So by identifying the right opportunities on one hand and identifying the risks on the other hand, and an organization may have huge sets of numbers, but it's where the finance professionals have to use their judgment to really pick up the right numbers and to pick up the right KPIs to be presented and influence the leaders of an organization.
Perfect. Next, business partnering. How do finance people, what is business partnering meant for finance people in a business?
Can I make a statement here?
Yes,
I think the crux essentially is that by attempting to compile the financial reports, it helps the leadership at the highest level and at the second tier of organization to take timely decisions. That's where they add the value. If the financial information is not reported on time, things could go haywire, could go upside down in an organization. So I think that's where they add the value. Timely decision, it helps them in taking the decisions on a timely basis.
I have seen in my organization that finance people are the heart of business. And business partnering is a special skill. While you have got to have knowledge, first of all, you've got to understand every nut and bolt of the business. Be it sales, be it marketing, what is happening, even external orientation, means external connectivity, what is happening in the market. Yeah? Within your own market. What's happening with your competitors. And then challenging every business plan that comes on, of course, financial basis. You have the numbers, you have analysis and everything. So business partnering is actually partnering with the business leaders, working closely with them, understanding business as much as a leader understands, and challenging. And by challenging means by giving a wake-up call maybe, by showing the right direction. So that's the kind of a skill, So it's not just the knowledge of numbers. It's not just knowledge of what actually the financial analysis would say. It's beyond that. It's a certain set of behaviors is required for that, for which at least in our organization, there's a specific training for that. And that's the kind of, it's not just us. in every progressive organization, now even finance function has a very important leg, which is called finance business partnering. Even to the extent of supply chain, the concept of finance business partnering is coming, that every step of supply chain is to be evaluated and for value creation, that what value we are taking out of it, and that's the kind of a thing, and the dependence of business leaders, functional leaders, on this kind of analysis, this kind of critical, data mining, and coming out with conclusions and directing towards decision taking. So that's the way we feel that there's a value creation created by finance people. And the third is transactional support and functional management. But I'm sure that's very simple, because that's reporting. But one thing which we feel the key skill that finance people should have in an organization is ability to challenge business at every level. That's something which is very important. And that can only be done if finance people don't just be the finance people. They are the business finance people. So now that it's the next step of finance into the businesses. It's a finance business people, not just bookkeeping. Yes, that's a critical part of the finance function. Transactional reporting, transactional bookkeeping is very important, but for value creation, it's beyond that. And that's something which we believe in, that this is critical. And I'm sure, okay, thank you. And I'm sure all of you will agree now that thank you, that this is something which is, this is all the accountants sitting here also have to, we used to talk about ourselves as HR people. HR has moved away from personnel management to business strategic HR. What actually means is that we even HR people, if we want to add some value into the business, we go to understand the business. I was in a session somewhere, and every HR person was talking about that we can't reach to the board level, we can't reach to the board level. And my question to my own, HR colleagues was, how many of us can read the balance sheet? We want to be in the boardroom for what? If you can't read the balance sheet, if you can't have financial statements, I can understand that. I can't add any value. No business is going to spend money on me unless I add value to that. Yeah. Same way, financial people, our understanding is now it's beyond simple financial reportings and bookkeepings. It's business finance. So you got to, so now when we build in talent in our company, we actually, it's a very important and integral part of building capabilities that people have to be given that kind of an exposure. Now, certainly, some people make it, some people don't make it. It's a choice of a person. Some people still feel comfortable that we want to be the hardcore accountants and nothing more than that. We enjoy that. But that's a person's own choice. But business, finance, and I'm sure senior people sitting here would also agree that for finance people to be the CEOs of companies, it is not just finance. It's business finance. So you got to have that kind of a thing. So talent building, coming back to my point, that the way we look at finance is a value creation, not just bookkeeping, not just transactional reporting, challenging the business at every level. And that's what we do. And when I was told that you got to come and talk about how finance people can be turned into a talent, and I was a bit confused. I said, talent management principles are everywhere. You can't have separate principles for finance people and separate principles for, because at the end of the day, every individual has been gifted by God limitless talent. Who imposes lid on one's potential? It's oneself, not anything else, not the environment, not the circumstances. It's us. So that's why I didn't want to talk about talent building with reference to only finance people. Talent building is a very general subject. Yes, how do we look at